Okay. Hey. Sorry, folks. You probably haven't seen any videos from me from a while, even though I'm actually filming when my latest video is not even like a week old, but whatever. Okay, so yeah, quickly before this really starts, I guess, shout out to Science Cat, who, on my latest video, depends whether or not, whatever, first like gets a shout out. He was the first like, so yeah, Science Cat. Go subscribe to him. He's a pretty cool channel. Yes, Spiderman Into The Spiderverse. Regarded by many as probably one of the prettiest looking films and probably one of the best films ever. And yeah, I could see where it's coming from, and I also am kind of one of those people. Dazzling effects and great cinematography and voice acting and just stellar animation. It's like, this is Sony. Like, wow. Like, I just can't believe it. They went from the Emoji Movie to this. Spider-Man Into the Spider-freaking-verse. So, Illumination, you got no excuse. They went from literally the lowest rated film on Rotten Tomatoes to one of the highest rated films. One of the most hated films to one of the most loved films, probably. It only came out last Christmas, so yeah. Sorry I couldn't review it down below, okay? I wasn't able to see it, but yeah. Even though it didn't make a ton of money, it made almost $300 million. I don't know. Something along those lines. It's still a great film that honestly you should just see. Yeah, I just want to get to the review already. Yes, we're going to be reviewing Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. Alright, let's go. Okay, so this is my third time seeing this film, and I can't stress enough how amazing this film is. It has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it has an award for Best Animated Film, which it totally deserves. This is a whole unique origin story for Miles Morales. If you don't know, the comics he was in were not good, to say the least. Everyone was an asshole or terribly written, and Miles felt so generic. Now it's up to the dude who made the Lego movie to set it straight, and they did. This might be better than the Raimi trilogy in terms of quality. Those are amazing, but this is just, I can't describe it. Let's just say they fixed Miles Morales into one of the best origin stories ever. So here's my review. Okay, I'm going to split it up like this. Story, animation, cinematography, characters, and final thoughts. Characters and final thoughts will be two different things, but animation and cinematography will be one same thing. Okay. The story. The film starts out with some really cool glitch effects, because Spider-Verse and glitching. Already, the music is great and the quality is set. Skip some spider stuff and some cool shots later, the film really starts. We get an intro from Miles Spider-Man, who gets mad with the whole Spider-Man 3 dancing. It's pretty funny. We then cut to Miles singing to a song. Now, this is kind of small, but I like how he doesn't know all the words and hums to it like it's just so relatable. When he's in the moment and his dad shouts, his reaction feels real and just so relatable. Alright, I love this dude. Miles gets ready for school and leaves and starts putting some stickers on things before tripping in front of his dad's police car. His dad drives him to his new school since he won something and ends up making a bad first impression. We get a quick montage of the teachers assigning things and Miles failing to get the class gets stopped by a teacher in class while everyone was watching a video of this scientist. Just remember her. He sits down next to this girl who's Gwen Stacy, but he doesn't know. He gets a 0 on something and is given an essay on expectations by a teacher. We cut to Miles leaving his dorm room which he got that day, and going to his uncle Aaron, who's apparently a criminal, but Miles likes him. We get to see why, as Aaron asks him about school and acts like a real nice dude. He tries to teach Miles to go hey in a flirting way, but he fails in a comedic way. Miles talks about the whole expectation thing, and Aaron takes him to their graffiti zone, where over another really cool montage cut by Radioactive Spider, we get the finished product. Miles takes a photo, and the spider uses this time to bite him. Classic origin story so far, but a little different. Miles kills the spider and leaves. We cut to Miles thinking he has puberty and getting a voice in his head. All funny stuff. He goes to school and tries to do the hey thing to Gwen, but it fails and she ends up cutting a bit of her hair and basically hates him. This guard finds out he left last night and chases him. Miles gets stuck out a window and alternates between wanting to stick and not wanting to. He falls down and tries to call Aaron to no success and wanders to the graffiti zone only to get lost and wander into a battle zone with Spider-Man and the Green Goblin, who's now a dragon? He nearly gets killed but is saved by Spider-Man, who promises to help him but gets his butt kicked. Apparently this dude called Kingpin is making this machine to bring his family back, but messes up and could possibly destroy the universe. Spider-Man nearly dies in the machine, and if you go in slow-mo during the scene, you can see the other Peter Parker and other Spider-People briefly. It's really cool. Spider-Man is knocked down but tells Miles to use his flash drive to destroy the machine, and he'll get back up. He unfortunately doesn't, and Kingpin crushes his chest, I'm assuming. It's really sad and gruesome in a sense. Miles leaves and gets chased by a school dude called the Prowler, who works for Kingpin. I love the music around this dude. It's so techno and just horrifying. Miles winds up in his home and wants to stay there for a night, and his parents agree. We cut to probably the saddest scene of everyone learning about Spider-Man's death, and it just hurts knowing how vulnerable everyone will be and how Miles has to become the new Spider-Man. And just the fact that Spider-Man died. He was also voiced by Chris Pine, so yeah. And also released this whole song, like the Spidey Bell song. It's really cool. The music along with this is amazing, and I've listened to it multiple times. Miles decides to get a Spider-Man costume, and we get the obligatory Stan Lee cameo. It is sad that Stan Lee's gone, but he's supposed to make a cameo in Endgame and Far From Home, so yeah. Miles asks if it'll fit, and Stan Lee replies with, it'll fit eventually. Yes, I'm saying Stan Lee because apparently in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, his cameo and his character was revealed to be a Watcher, so technically all of his cameos are connected to one same person. That's crazy. Miles puts on this... Okay, even though that line was used as a pretty good joke, it still means more. Miles puts on the suit and tries to jump off a high rooftop, but ends up going to a smaller one. He jumps off that one, but fails, and you could see the text when he is falling. Remember that. He looks at the flash drive and sees it's broken. He visits Spider-Man's grave and sees the other Peter Parker from the other Spider-Verse, but freaks out and knocks him out in a hilarious chase scene. He leaves Peter only to be again chased by Prowler, again with that awesome music. We are introduced to the other Peter Parker, who gives his narration. He says how there's this weird thing that teleported him somewhere and now he's here. Peter wakes up and sees Miles try to escape. Miles questions him but gets most of it wrong, then perfectly guesses what's going on here. Peter gets off his ropes and tries to escape, but he glitches like the title card and falls. Peter asks for the flash drive, but to no avail, and uses his web to get it and leave. But after some time, he comes back and decides to teach Miles. They go to a diner or whatever and get some food and find the location of Unknownflickz, where Kingpin works, and takes a bus there. But on the way, Peter teaches Miles how to swing. Peter goes inside Unknownflickz and Miles follows. And we then see that Kingpin is also there. We then see that the head scientist who was on that video early in the film. She says to Kingpin, if they fire that machine again, there will be a black hole under Brooklyn. Yeesh. They get inside the room where Kingpin and the lady scientist sleep, but Miles gets stuck on a light. He tries to calm himself by singing and falls, and somehow turns invisible? The scientist comes back and sees Peter and says he should be dead. It does some tests on him before revealing that she's Dr. Octavius. Miles leaves with a hacked computer while Peter fights her. We see Gwen, who's apparently working at the lab, which is also cool. Spider-Man eventually escapes Doc Ock, and he and Miles escape from the building, but are chased by some guards and scientists. Miles attempts to swing, but fails and falls down to the ground. Sometimes some scientists shoot at him, but miss, and Doc Ock catches up and tries to kill Miles, but he gets out of the way and learns how to swing through brief instruction from Peter. He glitches and they fall down, and Doc Ock gets the computer, but are saved by the Spider-Girl named Spider-Gwen. Spoiler, I guess, she's Gwen from school. They leave back on the bus, not before getting an intro to Gwen's backstory. They get out to a house, and out comes Aunt May. Turns out she knows Peter and Gwen's backstory about the whole Spider-Verse thing. She takes them to her secret hideout, and out comes Spider-Noir, Penny Parker, and Peter Parker. We get great introductions to these characters that are honestly really cool. After that finishes, Miles leaves because he doesn't feel like Spider-Man. He goes to Uncle Aaron's house to write a message, but Prowler finds him and gets inside the house. We get a legitimately scary scene while Miles is hiding from him. It turns out Uncle Aaron is actually Prowler in a really good reveal. Miles leaves and Prowler chases after him. He loses him and Michaels ends up in Aunt May's house. And the gang of spider people ask if he was followed, and it turns out he was. Doc Ock, this guy named Tombstone, this dude called Scorpion, and the Prowler. They get into a fight, and Prowler sees Michael with the flash drive and chases after him while Miles' father gets a call from another officer. Miles and the Prowler end up on Aunt May's roof, and Prowler is Miles about to be killed, and Miles takes off his mask. Prowler, who I'll just call Uncle Aaron from now, takes off his mask and lets him go. Kingpin steps outside and shoots Aaron, fatally wounding him. Kingpin tries to shoot Miles, but is stopped by Peter, who tells Miles to leave. Miles takes Aaron to a safe place to have his last words. He tells him that he let him down, then dies. This is such a sad moment, realizing all the wrong he did and sacrifices his own life for Miles. He gets home and gets, really mad, but the Spider Gang appears. Miles feels like no one understands him, but his roommate suddenly appears, and they try to avoid being seen, but the dude looks up and faints. The Spider Gang leave, but Peter Parker stays and says that he will stay and die and do what needs to be done. Miles says he needs to do it, but Peter tells him no. Peter tries to test him and sees that he's not ready and ties him up and leaves, telling Miles that it's a leap of faith. He uses some electrical power he has now, I guess, to break out of his webs and leave. He goes to Aunt May's house and gets a Spider-Man suit and paints it all black and paints his own spider logo and goes onto a large building. This time he jumps off in a bunch of awesome looking shots and web swings his way and jumps onto the same building he fell off earlier, and this time it says woo instead of ah. Cool. The Spider Gang gets to the machine, Spider-Man gets attacked by Doc Ock, and the Spider Gang takes out some guards. Just when Spider-Man is about to die, one of Doc Ock's arms starts punching her, and it's revealed to be Miles. Doc Ock lets go of Spider-Man, but they still have to fight her. The machine tries to bring back Kingpin's family, but it's too risky. Everything in Brooklyn starts to go wrong as everything starts glitching. Some buildings and trucks starts coming out of the machine and floating around. Spider-Noir kills Tombstone, and the Scorpion kills Penny Parker's machine, and in return gets himself killed. Spider-Gwen almost flies into the machine, but is saved by Miles. Doc Ock tries to kill them, but then a truck comes and kills her. Okay then. Miles starts opening up the Spider-People dimension. Penny goes first, then Spider-Noir, then Peter Parker, her Spider-Ham. But Spider-Man tries to fend off Kingpin, but Miles does the same thing he did to him a little bit ago, and this time he lets go, going back into his dimension. Miles goes back to fight Kingpin, and they end up on a train. Kingpin gets the upper hand, but sees flashbacks to his family leaving him on the train, and he gets super emotional. They get on top of the train and start throwing things at each other. Miles gets knocked down, eventually comes back up, and uses the shoulder touch with his electrical power to send Kingpin flying into the machine, destroying it. Miles and his father get up. Since Miles is in a spider suit, he doesn't know it's him. It turns out he got Kingpin captured. So happy ending, I guess. Miles gets his own introduction and ends the film off with saying anyone can wear the mask. We then get probably the best credits ever. They're so creative and ingenious. We then get a post-credit scene of Spider-Man 99, as he's called, and transports himself to Earth in 1967 and starts talking to a cartoonish version of himself. The film ends on that note. Animation and cinematography. Okay, so the animation for the film is crazy. It looks just like a comic book. If you could somehow get more comic booky, oh my gosh, I just don't know what to say. There are so many Easter eggs, as well as hidden throughout or foreshadowing something to come. Like they show Miles' roommate walking to school in a crowd, and they show Gwen. It's this attention to detail that's just so mind-blowing. There are also so many frames that look like a cartoon. Some shots have text boxes to make you feel like you're watching a comic book. One shot was of Miles throwing a bagel at scientists, and the text said bagel. It's so funny and realistic. However, whoever did this should just get an award. Sony's animation is either bad or just average. Nothing special. But this is special. Their animation could be dead inside, but this feels ripe with emotion. Even when they wear their mask, you still sense the faces they're making. It's so cool. I also want to briefly talk about the editing. It's so creative. The end credits are where it's shown off, and it's gorgeous. Or most shown off. Now back to the animation. Apparently they took a week for 1 second of footage. I think it may have been multiple hours, but okay. The cinematography is also great too. One shot where Miles is doing the leap of faith is amazing and immerses you in this amazing world that you want to escape to, not want to leave from. The cinematography also makes the environment feel like a character. That's how good it is. This film should have made more money. It's sad. The shots can also convey emotion to you or an atmosphere. Whenever Prowler was there, it would either be action-like or horror-like cinematography. This is so much better than the stuff we mostly get. Characters. Okay, so first we have Miles. He went from a generic kid from his comics to a relatable kid in this film. The way he sings this song is real. His reactions feel like a teenager, and he rushes to his new school. His dialogue feels real. He sounds like a teenager. His arc with becoming the next Spider-Man doesn't feel rushed at all. It takes time. It just feels grand because it is. It has been what we were waiting for. His arc feels natural and really, it feels really progressed. Not just magically without any development. He reacts like a real teenager, denying that his uncle let him down. He's great. Next we have Peter Parker, the main one. His backstory is briefly explored, but since we know it, it's fine. He's a great mentor who feels lost and doesn't immediately want to help. He's grumpy for a while, even through training, and takes advantage of Miles. But he isn't a bad person. He just wants to help, but is doing it a little too rudely. But he makes Miles become who he is and eventually isn't afraid to come back home. Now the Spider Gang. Gwen feels like a great supporting character. She has an arc, making a friend, and has a right amount of screen time, and also feels lost while having a motive. Penny Parker is great too, though we barely see her. Reaction to a robot's death is also real and not forced, and she doesn't feel annoying. Spider-Noir is funny. This is Nicolas Cage's best work in my opinion. His character, though we barely see, is entertaining and smart at times, and isn't annoying either. His last few moments really do shine. Peter Parker is the comedian of the group. Spider-Noir's jokes are great, but Peter Parker makes more jokes. Though I feel like he's barely in it, it's not really that bad because his time is well spent and ultimately has something to do. Aunt May is pretty cool, even though she's in like 4 to 3 minutes at most. She's just there to help and provide another emotional moment. Miles' parents also are great. They don't feel like generic amazing parents who make no mistake because they make mistakes and they're just a nurse and an officer. Their time is also spent well, and Miles' dad and mother leave a mark and are well played. Kingpin is also very emotional. His backstory is short but good enough to make me cry, though he takes it too far. He is scary like Thanos, and Miles' universe Spider-Man death is really scary because he shows how dangerous he is. He's literally a slab of meat that kills and can feel some emotion. Uncle Aaron is great and helps give Miles some character development, but he isn't just there for that. He feels like a great uncle that cares and just got into the wrong job and regrets it, just wants to be the uncle he could have been. He doesn't feel generic and so Hollywoodized. His dialogue is great too, and his death is really sad. A great character overall. Doc Ock is also a great film. She's barely in it, though her reveal is gratefully not shown in the trailers. She is menacing, but also charming and deceives you a little bit, but is also a cool version of Doc Ock. She's pretty hilarious, but she is also still menacing. All these characters feel real. I know I've been saying that a lot, but it's true. I guess Sony just got tired of making trash movies, so they decided to make this masterpiece. These characters feel necessary, just feel like a world environment. It's hard to explain, but the characters are great. Now, final thoughts. What you've been waiting for. Go buy this movie. Like, right now. The characters are great. The action feels tense. The comedy, which I love, really loved. Emotional scenes always land. It doesn't feel so in your face. The deaths help drive the plot or build a character. It's fun. The comic book style is unlike anything you've ever seen. I don't have any problems with this film. It's great. The soundtrack is cool and I enjoyed like every song. They're utilized very well. This is a non-stop entertaining film. No parts that drag on. The perfect runtime. I'm going to give Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse without a doubt an A+. It may be 1 hour and 56 minutes, but it's probably the best 1 hour and 56 minutes you can have. So, yeah. This film is great. Literally everything with it is amazing. Everything about it is amazing. I really have no problems. I think that the Spider people were in at the right time. There's literally Spider-Ham Con the Ham. I think there's like an animated short film. 2 of the jokes. One of them was, what am I pulling for? Out of context. Not that funny, but still. 2 was like, oh, I'm going into a movie or something like that. I hope I didn't miss the first 62 minutes. And it's kind of funny because, they were in like an hour and 2 minutes in, 62. Something like that. I believe, yeah. But yeah, even though they were barely, they still left a mark. The characters, feel real. I know I've said that like millions of times in this video. But it's just, it's so great. And just watch it. Buy it. Even if you're not a Spider-Man fan. Oh. Buy this film. Yes, I bought it. I bought it. This film is so cool. Look at this. You see it? Yeah, it looks like everybody's got the mask on. And then this one, 2 of them, this Spider-Man, the other Spider-Verse Spider-Man doesn't, but still, it's kind of cool. The attention to detail in this film is just amazing. It's just so obvious, and just, the colors, everything about it is amazing. Like, it's hard to find a sin with it. There's really nothing. It feels perfected. Just watch it. Yes, yeah. Just watch this film. Yeah, A plus. Literally everything. I enjoyed every minute. It felt so fast paced. It's so good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sony. Please make more of this. I'm not saying I'm gonna get an immediate sequel, although, you know, Spider-Man 099 thing was pretty cool, but still. It's just great. Great film. Bye.